Halloween has been my favorite holiday since long before I started brewing drag. So let me take you on the journey of this year and see where we will go. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the third installment of the Spooktober makeovers. I am going to do something that I have never done before, especially considering I don't consider myself a makeup artist. I have gained certain skills and tips and tricks along the almost 7 years that I'm doing drag now. Plus, I also already had some experience with face paint and makeup before I started doing drag. So this time I am going to give you a tutorial on how to create the time machine illusion of becoming an elderly person through makeup, and in my case it being the old man. So I've prepared, I've done this look several times before, and I actually prepared it this time to do it with as little products as possible. So it is really something that everyone can do, and even if you have to get some products for it, you don't have to get the whole scala of a gazillion things. So without further ado, let's start the makeover. To begin, I start with a TV paint stick, my Krylon professional makeup in my own skin tone, which for me is 5W. For this you can either use something in your own skin tone or maximum one skin tone lighter, especially not darker. That's not going to work very well. If you are not used to working with paint sticks, you can use a different foundation. I would not recommend doing it with liquid, but if that's all you have to work with, go for it, because it can work out, absolutely. So I always apply this with a sponge, and will probably add a little speed up moment now, because what we are literally going to do is cover the entire face as equal as possible. I'm really creating a blank canvas. Now, as you can see, I have not glued away my eyebrows because I literally want to create an older version of me. So I'm using my own face structure for this. But our base is done. I worked it all the way through my hairline. Same reason I want to do an old version of me, so I'm not going to wear a wig. That's something that you have to take into consideration. If you are not going to wear a wig or some hat or something, make sure to really go up there, because otherwise it looks like your look runs out somewhere. Same goes for towards below. Now I have a beard as an edge, so I go like to the edge of my beard. If you don't, always make sure to cover up your neck as well, and have it fade out a little bit at the bottom, because otherwise it's like really it looks like you have a different like you have a doll's hat on, for instance. Now I am going in with another TV paint stick, my Krylon professional makeup, and this is a really dark color, which I only use normally when I do some really heavy shading, or when I have a more tan skin in summer. So I'm partially Asian and I tan really fast. This is color coded 665. Um, in case you did want the same color, I'm taking a brush that I tend to use with this color. Especially, I only use this for my oil-based products. And what I am going to do now is what is the main magic trick for this video. As you can see, I front, and what I'm going to do is I will fill in the lines that naturally create when I do stuff like this. And just like literally follow those lines. We are still doing that frown or not surprised. Look, now what we are going to do is make a whole lot of different expressions. So these are the ones that came up with a surprised look. Now we're going to frown. You see that you get some lines around the nose, around and under the eyes as well. Very important one is the crow's feet. So smile. You'll see where those crow's feet naturally go. If the lines are really thin, do draw them, but put your brush on there very lightly so you get a thinner and more of a less pronounced line. It's not just the lines that are right next to the corners of your eyes, but also the lines that are right under your eye. Of course, it does matter a little on your own age at this point that everyone has extra lines when they pull expressions. That's something we really do have in common. Of course, when you put wrinkles, it's hard to get the pencil in the corner of your eye so you can fill that in when your eye is open. What I also noticed was when with every face I pulled is that there are a lot of lines on my eyelids now. When you have your face like this, you can't draw on there. So now I am going to just freehand a couple of lines there. And keep it light. Just to create a bit of depth. You can already see that at first glance my face looks older now. What I am seeing is that I have lines everywhere but my cheeks, so I'm going to see if there are expressions or there is more there. Not really, but what we are going to do, we're done with the darkest one now. Take a color in between once again with a Kryolan Professional Makeup TV paint stick. This is number 040 for reference. It is this color. We are also taking a brush. Now we are going to add a little bit of shading where you expect the face to get a bit saggy or slimmed in when you get older. And what you can actually also do is see if there's like literal shade falling on your face now, and just put a bit on there, not too much, and then immediately fade it out. We are not going to use blending blending sponges because we want to have sharp edged lines for this look. Now here I see a weird spot that falls in a shade which I am going to color in, because as people get older they also get age spots, so that is completely fine to have that there. And then I want to give them more droopy look on the chin by painting out that half moon there. And also I'm going to add some shade under the lower lip, maybe even on the edge, so the lip gets a bit slimmer instead of bigger, what I usually do for proper drag looks. Later on we are going to do something more with the lips too, but this is a start, an outline so to speak. See if you kind of squint your eye, there are also some thin lines that run a bit more into the cheek, so we can draw those. It's not really wrinkles, but there are lines. And the same we're going to do with the forehead, if there were like more subtle lines that we haven't colored in yet. Also, if you don't have that flexible of a skin and don't have too many pronounced lines of your own, make sure not to draw straight lines. Give it just a little wriggle to make it seem more natural. I have a really dark spot here, which I'm going to fade out with this color, because we can make it look more shadowy than just dark. And we are going roots that could possibly have that proper shadow. We are going to connect this slightly. We are going to fill in the vertical lines here. There we go. Now we have a nice base to go with, and because these are all oil-based products, before we do anything else with it, we want to keep this intact as a basis and not blend it out. You can blend it out a little, but I wanted to put a real big emphasis on everything, and then the harsher lines are very useful for that. So I'm going to keep this as is, and to keep it as is, we are going to powder it off, as you call it, and you can use translucent powder for that, but that's especially very helpful if you want to keep the shine. For this, you can just take easy, simple, cheap talcum powder, baby powder, whatever, the talcum powder your grandma used to use, to say in style. Cover everything up. Don't forget to cover everything because I went all the way to my hairline. The reason we do this is it sets. And it sets so that if you put anything else on it or go over it with brushes, it doesn't blend in when it comes on top of it. If you do not have a powder puff, smaller powder puffs also work, of course. I have this huge tin that I use for my talcum powder. If you don't have anything like that, don't worry about it. You can use cotton balls or the flattened out cotton thingies to apply this. It works just the same. The easy part about a big powder puff is that you have easy and quick coverage. Now, this has been on here for long enough. Always make sure not to just put it on and shake it off immediately. Have it sit for just a little bit. And when it's warm outside, have it sit for a little longer. Now, it's not that warm. It is mid-October, and I live in Western Europe. Now, when it set for long enough, you take the big powder brush and brush the powder off. It's okay if there is some residue, and whatever sticks for this look is actually completely fine because it gives that illusion of discoloration that some people get when they are older. Also, with talcum powder on brown tones, it gets a little grayish, which is also for this look really not all that bad. For now, we are done with our oil-based products, and I thought long and hard on how to proceed with the next steps to make it as easy as possible for all of you. I'm not quite sure if they ship internationally, but I do think so. I went with one palette, the Magica Wonders palette by Queen Cosmetics. Magica Wonders is a Dutch drag queen as well, and a face paint and makeup artist. And she has some of her own lines. Now, once again, we'll show you the colors. We are not going to use all of these, but what we are especially going to use are the brown tones and some of the red tones, and later maybe even a little bit of black. What we are going to do first is over the darker lines. Yes, with a very flat brush, we're going to take the lighter shade of brown. So that's the one over here in the corner. And we are going to go over the dark browns. And it's okay if you run a little further than the line that you drew on either side, because it creates a little more depth. This is, we still have the harsh, thick line that we drew, but it makes it less like it's been put on there with a Sharpie, and it, because we have taken such a flat brush, you can do a very thin line, which is thinner than what we already drew on, to create a little bit of depth there. Now, for the lines that we drew on with the lighter color, some of them might not be as pronounced as we'd like. For instance, the line around the chin has almost left, and some of the crow's feet lines have left. So for that, we are taking the darker brown, also with a thin pencil, and make sure we have as little residue as possible. So I'm going to both blow on the brush and tip it off. Simply tip a little over the lines that we have, just ever so softly, ever so gently. As you can see, I have not done anything else yet to the eyelids, because what we are going to do is we're going to create a tired look. The tired look, um, when we take the lightest brown from the Magica Wonders palette with a more loose brush. We dip it in very lightly, and then blow it off as well. And go over the eyelids. This is a bit of a reddish brown, and we are going to do on top of the eyelids, or on top of the eyes first. Cover the eyelids with just a little bit, just ever so lightly, and it doesn't have to be neat. There we go. See, that already makes the eyes seem a bit more heavy. There is a red tone in there that makes it look very naturally, and because we really put it on, like I dipped this in, how can we do that perfectly? I dipped this in ever so slightly, just on the edge, to keep it light, so we're not creating a really coverage. We don't want to have it a fully covered. Now we're going to do the same thing under the eyelid, but for not as deep. So just basically the width of the brush. Do the same on the other side. Dip it in again. Blow some off. And go from one corner of the eye and the other. Not fully covering and not making it too neat. It's really okay to be a bit messy here. And see, the eyes have sunken in just a little bit. If you want to make that effect a little deeper, what you can do is take a blue or purple tone and really, really, really slimly add a little line below. I'm going to show you how to do that, for example, but it really exaggerates the I'm exhausted look. We are going back to the thin brush, dipping it in the purple, just on the edge there. Also blow it off, and then right around where we already drew some wrinkle lines, right in between two of those, for instance. Basically from the corner of the eye, set off to go down just ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. It's really, really subtle, but it gives some depth to it. And if you want to emphasize it more, you can put some more on the brush, and from that line, brush upward. That line you drew upward. See, we are going to do a similar thing on the other side, but this is where we are mimicking what a human body does, and what a human body does is not perfectly symmetrical. So keep in mind the technique we use, but don't look too much at what you did with the other eye, um, because we don't want it to be in perfect contrast. Now, what you could also do is add some red really close to the waterline of your eye, just right under it, and maybe even some on top of your upper lashes. Just add to the entire state of it all. That can be a bit brighter because otherwise it will fall away in the browns. And it all really depends. Like if you wanna be a more dignified older person in looks, you don't need all these additions. But if you want to give it a little creep factor or a little I'm so old I'm almost a zombie factor, for instance, these are the little tiny tricks that help you get there. See? If you want to have more contrast, you can add more of the purple. You can even do it with the loose brush again. Put that right under the red and more to the inner eye corner. Just put a little blemish there. What you can also do with the leftover purple on your brush is remember we created a little spot here on the edge of that. Just tap 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 a little purple on there, and tap 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 a little purple on there. It makes the H spots a bit more realistic. You can even just randomly here and there add some spots to just very, very subtle, but that is how we as people tend to age. Then we are very close to done, but if, like me, you have a beard, what I like to do is not go completely cartoon white, but I am using a clown white oil-based face paint. This is my Kryolan again, line Supracolor, which is an oil-based face paint, which you also apply with a sponge, normally to the face, but you can just as easily put it on your facial hair. And what I do for this, instead of what I normally do when I want to cover my beard in a full color, I use a mascara brush. But now we are just going to dab it on. Just dab it on, and you see that it kind of brings a layer on it, but it also, your own color still shines through, which is more or less the result that I like to create for a more realistic elderly look. Now, depending on how much hair of your own you have, and whether or not it is gray speckled, yet you can also do the same thing for your hair. Just note that this is an oil-based product, and even if you fixate your look when you're done, which I will do at the end, um, there is a chance it still uh, leave spots on your clothing or anything you touch. It may come off a little bit. Most of my hair on my head is already very gray streaked, but to give it a nice go over, I will put a little bit there. The eyebrows already seem still grayish from the talcum powder that we put on before, but I am still going to put some of the white in, just very lightly, kind of dab and smear in the same movement, so it is not fully in there and mixed in with the hairs, but it does cover. Now, if like me you have a neck beard, make sure you have all the edges as well, because that is a dead giveaway otherwise. I'm going to leave the top as is because it's kind of works with my natural already having gray hairness of it all. Then I'm not going to put any talcum powder over this. There's no use. What I am going to do is, because it is very even now everywhere, which is a possibility absolutely when you get older. But what I'm going to do is the black on this palette is a more translucent black. So it is very, very sheer, and I'm going to take this powder brush and lightly cover everything in there, and just especially around the edges, give just a little dab, just ever so slightly. I'm also going to take the brush that we did the purple with before and just tap it on there. Just blow on it, and then over the brow. And the same, of course, for the other side. If you want to darken your brow more, you can also use mascara for that. But I want to keep it very, very subtle. So that's what I went for. Now, it's also, I'm not going to put on mascara on my lashes because everything that has fallen on it made them a little lighter than they usually are. I have very black facial hair, so that is a very more compatible with the rest of the look. So I'm keeping it like that is. I'm not doing any highlights on my face because I want to keep it all very matte and toned down and timid like this. And then for the lips, my trick is to get the most nude, most close to nude look you have. This is actually a very old one. I'm not even sure if the brand still exists. Probably does. By Manhattan the Look Stick Pure Matte, and I don't even see a color name. The color code is 139. I've used this for various different purposes. I'm going to follow the natural shape of my lips, but because I want to have it toned down, I have a very elegantly shaped upper lip, and I'm going to take the crease out of it. So make that right, like this. Make it more of a flat laying. And then for the lower lip, stay within the line that you gave it to give it a more shadowy. Smack them together. And then once again, take the slim brush, go back to your Magica Wonders palette, and start with the, now you can really you can really go for it and load on the edge quite some of the dark brown first. Now you relax your lip, you see some lines in there, so those we are going to dab. Now this kind of didn't go the way that I was hoping, because it came off very lumpy and very dark. Well, what we are going to do to fix it, because accidents happen, is take the lighter brown over that, and from the inside outward, just going to paint it out flat. Smack them together. And now actually, even though it is very different than I had planned, because I wanted to accentuate the cracks, we do have a kind of a discolored natural lip, which really suits this look. So I say yay! Now I am going to put some fixing spray on this. I don't have it within hand reach, so I'm going to do that off camera. It is a Kryolan professional makeup fixing spray as well that I use. If you very rarely do makeup looks, you can use hairspray as a fixing spray, but it is really bad for your skin, so I never recommend it. You use a proper fixing spray. This is my advice, especially if you use makeup more often. Put some money into that. I always say the things you put on your face first, like the base, and the things you use to seal it. Put money into that, and everything that goes in between, all the colors and everything. Just experiment with that. Find the thing that works for you. Invest in the things that you really want, of course, and create looks. Now, I still sound way too vivid, but that's because I haven't gone into character yet. Of course, I'm going to do that. I'm going to dress up, and I will be back. Yes, here we are, fully dressed and fully made over. I'm very curious what you think, and I hope you learned something today. So, once again, thank you for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel not to miss anything. And as always, until next time, bye.